Hi everyone! So my grandmother for Thanksgiving always makes pecan pie, so I thought it'd be great to try it out. Her recipe calls for Karo syrup, vanilla, and of course it calls for pecans, as well as 2 eggs, butter, and pie crust. Alright, so let's get started. First you're going to need 2 eggs. And really everything is just going into the same bowl, so it's a pretty easy recipe. So there's 1 egg and 2 eggs. Alright, now that we have the 2 eggs, next is the sugar. So it's just going to be 2/3 cup. So that's 1. And 2. And next we have the Karo syrup. Alright, so 2/3 of a cup. There's 1. And there is 2. Next we have the 1.5 cups of pecans. Definitely an important ingredient to pecan pie. So there's 1 cup, and then do 1/2 cup. Alright, so next up we have a teaspoon of vanilla. And we need 2 tablespoons of butter. So that's going to be about this much butter, and I'm gonna melt that real quick in the microwave. Alright, perfect. So this is what we want right here, some melted butter, and just pour that on top. Right, and then here comes the easy part. Just stir it all together. Make sure you get all the same consistency, break up those egg yolks. And make sure you're scraping the sugar from the sides. There we go, and that's the pie filling done. So easy. Alright, now comes time for the pie crust. What I like to do with my pie crust, because nobody likes a soggy pie crust, is I typically like to bake it before I put the filling in, just for a little bit to let it get a little bit hard on the bottom. Another thing to remember is make sure you get your pie crust to room temperature. You want to leave it out of the refrigerator for at least half an hour. If it's from the freezer, definitely longer than that. Alright. So now I'm just going to press it into the sides, and be gentle because you don't want any holes on the sides as well. So I'm just taking my hand and going around the edges to make sure I press out any air pockets. This will make sure your pie crust lays flat on the bottom. So I just put the pie in the oven on 325 for 8 minutes. So that's just going to get it a little bit golden brown, and that way when I bake it, it won't have a soggy crust. Alright, nice and golden. Alright, so now it's time to fill it with the filling. Alright. It'll kind of settle in by itself pretty naturally. So that is our pie, and now I'm going to bake the rest of this, and I'll meet you back here. So the pie is going to bake about 30 to 45 minutes, but just keep an eye on it because we're baking it nice and slow. If at any point you're worried that you may be burning your crust, no worries, I have a trick. So just take a sheet of aluminum foil, you're going to fold it in half, and then cut about the size of the middle of the pie, Make sure you don't cut your hole too big because you're going to use this to cover the edges of the crust. Alright, so here we go, and I'm going to put this on the pie. Just like that. Perfect. Alright, looks like we're done. And just remove the tin foil. See, that kept the crust nice and golden brown, not dark brown. Alright, there we have it. So this is the finished pecan pie. I can't wait to dig into it on Thanksgiving. This will have to do in place of Grandma's actually self-baked pie, but hopefully this is just a little bit as good as hers. So here's to eating.